before you do a short sale or a foreclosure, a deed in lieu, or a short payoff, you should know all your options. And if you're working with us, where we start is we start with a baseline. And that baseline is what happens after a foreclosure. Will you owe the bank money? Will you owe taxes based on cancellation of debt income or capital gains? And what will happen to your credit? And can we do better? Can we minimize or eliminate the risk of your credit after a foreclosure? Now, why do we do that? Well, we know that less than 50% of realtor negotiated short sales close. Now, I'd say we did a lot better than 50%, but even back then, sometimes the lenders did not want to agree to the terms that my client wanted. Sometimes those terms were related to how their credit would be reported. And sometimes the lenders agreed, sometimes they didn't. Sometimes my clients didn't care and said, let's go ahead and do the short sale. But there's no guarantee in any of these workouts that the lender's going to agree to what you want. And so then you need to know what your baseline is. For instance, if you've started off early with a deed in lieu and the lender's not agreeing to it and you're still even current on their loans, well, then we have a strong way to leverage that. I would send a letter and I'd explain under California law why you wouldn't have to owe the bank any money, why you would not owe anything on taxes. So really what we're doing is we're exchanging them not hurting your credit for them getting the property back now. But I'll say, look, my clients, if you don't want this property back now, well, first of all, I think you need to talk to your investor because your investor is going to be out $150,000 more a year from now than the small amount they're out now, because that's what's going to happen in California. We're going to leverage. I've explained to my client all the laws and I'll explain it to them. I'll talk to them about the foreclosure timeline. I'll explain that how we'll extend it out and that you'll maybe even put a renter in there. So by the time they get this property back, because you don't want the property you're going to waste, you're going to rent it in a little under market and they're going to have to then do a foreclosure. Then they're going to have to do cash for keys and they're going to have to do an unlawful detainer to kick your client out. And their investor is going to be out a lot of money. So therefore, they really should agree to do, and we'll say, do a deed in lieu or do a short sale where your credit's not hurt. I mean, we can pre-negotiate that. I can tell you the short sale one's harder, but the deed in lieu, in the beginning of the last market, we got deed in lieus done for my clients. And it was because in the beginning of the market, the banks were not taking that big a hit against their equity. Over time, when the hits were big, they just stopped caring. They're like, just do the short sale. But in the beginning, we got people out. There are even banks that will allow you to start the deed in lieu process without being in default. So you're not even going to take the credit dings. So it's lender dependent. It's your situation. It's how well we leverage the law. And maybe we can get a deed in lieu done where you take no credit damage. I'm not going to guarantee it. It's hard to do, but it's possible. Same thing with a short sale when you're working with an attorney. We're going to be pre-negotiating. If you're really happy with it, comfortable with the downside, and you're like, I don't care if the short sale gets done, then we can work more to try to get it done. And sometimes, because, I've talked about in these videos, I loved the suit commercials when I was a kid. Educated consumer is the best customer. Well, an educated client who knows and can leverage the law, knows that we're leveraging the law and how and what to expect. Well, when the bank doesn't do what they want, they're like, well, okay, fine, go ahead and foreclose. And then sometimes, I remind the loss mitigation department that they do have a duty to do this when they have a chance, because they have a fiduciary duty to their clients, and they're going to cost their clients so much money. And I explain that, and I send it to them, and sometimes even ask, hey, can you give me the information about your lender? Because we're going to look it up. We're going to try to talk to the lender or investor directly. Like, when my client's willing to do all that, we can get things done. Not always, but sometimes. And so what I'm saying is that if you want to be that educated consumer who's not only our best customer, but smart and relaxed and understands the process, we're offering right now a free consultation. I call it a recourse, non-recourse analysis, which was sort of always free with us. Like, I'll examine the loans. We'll figure out what the downline, the baseline is, what's the worst thing that can happen after a foreclosure. And then I talk to you about how we could leverage the law to do better. And how I would suggest we consider sequencing the workout after I talk to you and ask you your goals. Are your goals to stay in the house as long as possible? Are your goals to get out with the least amount of damage? Are your goals to make sure that you can never owe the bank money, ever have to owe taxes? I know a lot of people in the beginning of the market are going to be very concerned about their credit. and I'll talk to you about what your options are with respect to that. So to find out more, you can go to upsidedownrealestate.com and fill out the form. Or if you're seeing this on YouTube, I might have a link where you can click on it to go to upsidedownrealestate.com. But my name is John McConnon. I'm a real estate attorney and a broker. And I look forward to talking with you. Thanks. Talk to you later. Bye.